Hi everyone. Today we're going to create smoke within the After Effects. For the background, we're going to use the JPEG, so make sure you to download that JPEG before you start this one. All right. Then let's get started. First thing first, we need the new composition. So let's come down to the project window, click on the third icon, and we're going to rename as source. And again, width and height, we just want to keep it to 1280 by 720. And frame rate, we're going to keep it to 24. And duration, for this one, let's keep it to 15 seconds. So we're gonna keep it to 1500. Make sure the start time code is always 0. Resolution, let's keep it to half. Click OK to confirm. Now we have a new composition to play around. First thing first, what we have to do is come up to the pen tool and just zoom out just a little and click, 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 and always come back to the first loop and finish it. All right. So you just want to create something looking like this, and we're going to the all the way to the top. Click on the fill to change the color to very white. Come up to the stroke, click on the name of the stroke, and make sure it's set to none. Click OK. And we're going to right click on the shape layer 1. We're going to rename this one as main. And we're going to lock this one because we don't really need to retouch this one. All right. With the pen tool selected, I'm going to come up here, create something that's a little bit circular. Make sure you close the loop to change the shape just a little. All right, I think that should be okay enough. All right, once you have this one, make sure to come back to the selection tool, click on the shape layer 1. We're going to rename this one to deform 1 and click on the pen behind tool. Make sure you change the center point of this piece to the here. If you don't see it, just click on to the layer again and you should be able to see the anchor point. All right, what we're going to do is hit S on the keyboard, and we also want the position, so Shift P is also going to bring up position as well. Always when you're done with any of the tools, come back to the selection tool, and I'm actually going to scale it down, and you have the blue number, you can click, hold, and drag it to scale it down. And I'm just simply going to put it right there at the very bottom. And I'm going to put the keyframe for both position and scale. Move this time indicator to 5 seconds. I'm going to scale this thing up to about 120 and put this one all the way to the top. So it should have something looking like this, but ideally we want to have something a little bit more curvature. So what we're going to do is move the time indicator somewhere around in between 0 second, 5 second. Click on any of the point. You should be able to see this little circular dots up here as well. Circular dots. Make it a little bit curvier. So it's going to come out looking something like this. I think 120 is a little bit small. Let's keep it to 140 and push this one so that it's out of the frame. Yep, now it's out of the frame. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the deform 1, Control D to duplicate it. Hit U on the keyboard, that's going to bring up all those keyframes. And we're going to lock deform 1. With the deform 2, click and drag it. Make sure your time indicator goes to the beginning, and also come down, change the beginning point to the little bit right hand side, and also change the anchors. So let's see how it actually looks. Okay, I think it's looking fine. Awesome. All right. Unlock the deform 1 and 2. What we're going to do is hold on to both deform 1 and 2. Click on the first deform 1. Shift click the second one. Control D to duplicate it. And put this deform 3 on top of deform 2. Hit U on the keyboard to bring it out. Deform 4, click on it. Hit U on the keyboard to bring it out. We're just going to offset this one. So offset it like this. So now we have something that's stair like stuff's coming out. Okay, the 4 is just good enough. All right, next what we have to do is deselect everything. So click on here, any of the empty area, so you're not selecting anything. With the pen tool, let's come up where we have roughly about 2-3 seconds where we see this first clumps. Come down there. We're going to create another circular shape that's relatively small. And we're going to right click, rename this one as line number 1. All right, and we're going to change the mode. If you don't see this mode, make sure in the bottom left hand corner you have this 2 icon checked. On the mode, click on it, and we're going to change the normal to silhouette alpha. And what we're going to do is with this line number 1, we're going to parent it, come up to the all the way to the right, parent and link. We're going to parent it to the deform 1 because that's the first deform that actually comes up. Going to parent it to deform 1, but make sure this one also has the anchor point at the center. And we're going to parent it right about there when they merge just a little. So deform 1, so it's going to move along and scale along that side. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing for this one. Roughly about there, looks good enough. Click out. We could easily duplicate it, but what we're going to do is we're just simply going to create second one. That's going to help us to create different shapes. Right click, rename, line 2, come down to the mode, silhouette alpha. And we're going to parent it to deform 2. And move it up, move it up, move it up. And let's work on this one. Make sure you click out of the timeline so you're not selecting anything. Click on the pen tool to make it a little bit smaller, this one. Like this. Right click, rename. Make sure for the line 1, 2, 3, 4, you don't want to make it too big. And deform 4, again, click out, move it up. This one. If you make it too big, later on it's going to merge with the other shapes as well. So that's something that we want to have. So change the mode, silhouette alpha, and put it to deform 4. Let's see, let's take a look. All right, it's slowly taking its look. All right, Let's add a couple holes in here as well. So make sure you click out of it. We're going to add the hole somewhere around here. Click on the pen tool. Just make a small, oops, I'm gonna zoom in. Just make a small hole with unique shape on it. Again, this one, same thing. Right click, rename. We're going to change into hole. Change the mode to silhouette alpha as well. This one, this is going to be our first deform. So I think we can also scale this one somewhere around right there, but I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller, like that. And I'm going to parent it to deform 1. So it's also going to scale it and follow along with that one. And notice how when I push it up, it actually stops right there. That's simply because our deform 1 ends right there. But since we have attached this hole to the deform 1, we simply have to come back to position, the keyframe position of the deform 1. What you can do is click onto this arrow. Now the time indicator is snapped to the right on top of the keyframe. All we have to do is just push a little bit up so it goes out of the frame. Let's do that for the other ones as well. The second one, click on the arrow, push it up. Third one, click on the deform 3, push it up. Deform 4, click on the arrow. We have to get rid of these, push it out. So now overall, let's take a look. I think we can add one more little hole there. All right, let's add one more right there. Click on the pen tool, make sure you're not selecting anything. Just a small hole. Right click. I don't know where that shape layer 1 came from. Okay, I double clicked it to create them, so never mind that. Come back here. All right, little hole. All right, right click, rename, and we're going to rename as hole number 2. Again, change the mode to silhouette alpha, and this is going to be our third one, so we're going to parent it to deform 3. And then now let's take a look. Okay, looks like deform 3, we have to push a little bit up more. So click onto this arrow and push it up, so that one also goes out of the frame. Let's see. Oh, okay. The deform 4 also needs to go out just a little more. All right. Okay. That's looking good. All right. So let's create one more composition. Click on the create new composition, and we're going to rename as fine. The setting is already copied from the source, so we don't really have to change anything. Click OK. Now let's bring in the JPEG file that we have downloaded. All you have to do is just click and drag. All right. And this one, I'm just going to simply click and drag, put it up there. And notice how the image is just way too big. So hit S on the keyboard. So we're going to decrease the size until it fits the screen right there. And we're going to lock this one so we can't really touch anything. All right. We're in the final. Click on the source and click and drag it on top of the JPEG layer. So we now have this one. All right, there's a couple things that we're going to change and apply. Click on the source layer, come up to the top right hand side, effects and preset, we're going to change, not change it, but we're going to apply Gaussian blur. Make sure you're selecting the Gaussian blur from the blur and sharpen, not the legacy one. Double click on the Gaussian blur. We're going to change the blurriness to 100. Come up to the effect and preset again. We're going to type level. You want to double click on the level on the color correction. Double click on it. If you see the screen something like this, just make sure you just expand it just a little. On the level, change the channel to alpha and bring this one, bring the right one to the center. You don't want to completely merge it, you just want to see just a little. So that way, once you increase or decrease the blurriness, you actually can control how much of the deform that's actually happening there. But 100 seems fine. Okay. Let's take a look at spacebar. Okay, awesome. And up until this point, click on the source, and we're going to hit Control D to duplicate it. And we're going to hide the bottom one. And we're going to rename the first one, the source. Right click, rename. And we're going to rename it as line. On that line composition, we're going to add Vegas. Type Vegas. Double click on it. Come down to the rendering blending mode, change it to transparent, and change the color to white or any other color that you wanted. But in this case, I'm just skipping to white. And come down to the very end and change the end opacity to 1. So now we have one solid line that's going through. All right. Now come down to the source and just turn it back on. Hit T on the keyboard, lower the opacity to roughly about 20%. I actually want to change the color gradient just a little. So I'm going to come up to the right hand side and type for gradient. And on the source, to apply gradient map, double click on it. And let's change the start color to white. Change the end color. I think reddish is fine. Awesome. And now let's take a look. Okay, awesome. If you want to change a little, you can always come back here. Maybe I can also even change the main source. Let's unlock this one with the pen tool selected. Click on the point. If you do that, you can actually change the entire view of this smoke, just like that. All right. Click on the first and second one, shift click it. And with the selection tool selected, just move it up so that we're starting from roughly from the fire. So that we can kind of also get rid of the very top. Hit spacebar to preview this one. And it's looking pretty good. All right. Cool. We just want the 10 seconds of this one. So what we're going to do is come up to the position, composition setting. That's something that we should have just changed it in when we make the composition. But right now it's set to 15 seconds. So let's change the duration to 1000, which is going to be only 10 seconds long. And hit spacebar to preview this. And voila, awesome. We have working Steam right now. All right. If you have up until this point, you guys can go ahead and render this file. Make sure you guys compress the video so I can also take a look, and it's easier for us to upload it on the server. All right. And if you guys have any other question, always just ask me. I'm always there for you guys. All right. Have fun, and I'll see you guys next week.